of influencers.
Do you have other subjects you want to start with your YouTube?
Other subjects. Well, I do venture into other topics every now and then. Like I've added a bunch of like lifestyle things, and sometimes now I make videos about things that are important to me. But maybe in the future, I don't know. I really enjoy kind of like the beauty thing that I do, like the kind of alternative to beauty, like I like to call it, an alternative approach. I like to make women feel like they're beautiful as they are, and that they don't need like all of this extra stuff to be beautiful. And that's just a topic I really enjoy. So yeah, I think beauty and lifestyle is just really my thing right now. Maybe in the future I'll change a little bit, or I'd like to explore more things. Cooking videos, I would like to go more into that. I really enjoy cooking and making food videos. So maybe that's something for the future.
You're vegan, right?
Yes.
So would
at
you
the moment,
be
well,
making cookies?
mostly plant-based at home is what I would correctly call it. Yeah.
So on the road you're grabbing a burger.
No. I never eat meat, but I kind of like to say I'm as vegan as possible. I kind of struggle in social situations. I don't like to feel like I'm making people uncomfortable, like I'm giving them extra hardships through my dietary choices. So for example, when I go to visit my boyfriend's family and they've cooked for me and there's like a little bit of cheese in there, I will eat the dish, you know, just because I don't want to be rude or anything. But whenever I cook my own food or I buy my own food or I order my own food, I always make sure that it is vegan. That's pretty much it.
You have vegan cheese, right?
There is vegan cheese, but it is not good.
It's not good?
Oh, no.
What do you mean it's not good? The taste is not good?
Yeah,
Or?
it's just really gross. Yeah, it's very greasy and it's pretty much made of coconut oil, and it tastes like coconut oil, really. Yeah, vegan cheese is no good. Maybe they will make better cheese in the future, but right now, not worth it.
Do you know the Lenny and Larry cookies? The vegan cookies?
Haven't heard of them. Are they good?
Yeah, they're very good.
Okay.
They have cookies. Vegan cookies. It's actually a very big brand of the United States. It's called Lenny and Larry, and they got vegan protein cookies.
Oh, all right.
They're very good. You should try them.
I will.
Since when have you been eating vegan?
I believe I started in the summer of 2016, kind of slowly transitioning into more and more plant-based food. So yeah, I would say that's about the tipping point.
And once a week you take vitamin D.
I do. Sometimes more regularly, depends on the supplement that I'm taking.
What kind of vitamin D is it?
I'm pretty sure it's...
Vitamin D2 or D3?
Oh, this is really bad, but I honestly don't know. It just says vitamin D on the box. So
because most of the time D2 is plant-based, but D3 is not plant-based. It's from animals, so I want to...
you got me there.
Find out.
Yeah, is that the one that's like animal, no, sheep wool, right? Derived. I do know there's a vitamin that is derived from sheep wool. Yeah, I'm not that far yet into my whole kind of like going full-on vegan. But yeah, that's a good thing. I will check next time when I buy a vitamin D supplement.
What is the main reason to become vegan?
Ethical reasons for me, mostly. Yeah, I'm really unhappy with kind of like mass agriculture, animal farming, the way it is now. It just feels wrong to me on so many levels. So yeah, that is kind of my biggest thing. I am not necessarily against using animals and eating animals as such, but I just really, really disagree with the way it is done nowadays. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. And since there isn't really any way to avoid that, then I choose not to. And also I personally, like this is from an ethical point of view, but me personally, I just really, it doesn't feel right to me to eat meat anymore. it just kind of grosses me out a little bit, and I find it kind of strange.
What about eggs or fish?
I don't do that anymore either.
Why?
Well, again, the whole animal farming thing. There's always death involved in like really nasty ways. Even when you eat eggs and dairy, there's just they always have to kill the male animals, like the male babies, and it just doesn't feel right. It's better on my conscience, I feel like, if I don't do it. But yeah, I do regard that as a very personal choice. I'm not an activist or anything like that. I feel like everyone needs to make their own choices, but this is kind of my personal thing. Just feels better to me to not eat it. Yeah.
But animals on a farm, like a farm that you get, that you know animals are treated well, then they at least have a life. Don't you think it's better to be than not to be?
Depends. Depends on the quality of the life, I guess. But like I mentioned, I'm not ethically against eating meat. So when you're talking about like these super amazing kind of perfect farms, there are loads of vegans that oppose that as well. Me personally, I'd be fine with other people buying their meat from there, but I just personally don't want to eat animals anymore. It's also, this has kind of really grown since I have pets at home, and I kind of regard animals in a completely different way since then, because I just kind of have a connection with my pets, and I recognize a lot of them in other animals as well, and it doesn't feel right to me to eat them anymore. But I'm not necessarily opposed to eating animals completely. I just don't like to do it myself.
And what about cheese?
Well, yeah, cheese is, again, it comes from the whole animal farming thing. You can't have milk unless the cow is pregnant, and when the cow is pregnant, then a baby comes out, and if it's a male, then it gets killed. And it's also questionable whether the cow is, like, how unpleasant it is for the cow to be milked. And I know cows have been bred to have like these huge udders that are just so gigantic and much bigger than they were in nature. So now they need to be milked, but it wasn't like that originally. So that is kind of a man-made thing, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I'm just not entirely happy with it, so I just choose to not involve myself with that, kind of hopefully shrink the market a little bit. And I don't really miss it in my life either. I don't feel like I need milk or eggs or anything like that to have a kind of balanced and healthy diet.
So you think it's healthier to be vegan?
No. I know many vegans do say that. I personally disagree. I think you can have a healthy diet whether you eat animal products or not. I do think that you can have a diet that is as healthy as a kind of normal diet, but plant-based. So that's what I try to go for.
If you can change one thing in the world, what would you change?
I think I would go for the animal farming thing, yeah. I think I would try to do something about that. Not entirely sure how, but yeah, I think that will be my main focus. Just treatment of animals in general, yeah.
Do you want to do more on your YouTube about being vegan, being the way people eat?
Not necessarily. I personally really don't like preachiness about things like that are, to me, super personal topics. I know I don't really like when people I watch for other reasons, like beauty channels and stuff, start to push kind of their views on me, no matter whether I agree with them or not. So I inject like subtle little things here and there. Of course, when I do food videos, they are vegan. But it's not something I talk about all the time, and I don't think that's something I want to do in the future either. Like I mentioned, I'm not an activist. It's just not in my nature. And I think everyone should make their own choices when it comes to that. So I don't think that's a place I want to go to on my channel.
What do you think of vegan products that are on the market right now?
I think they're getting better. Yeah, except for the cheese.
Do you
cheese
use
isn't
any
good.
vegan, like special vegan products, like proteins or stuff like this? Or
Barely. I like to cook from scratch as much as possible. I do have kind of these meat replacers pretty regularly, so like mock meats, but it's mostly also because I live with my boyfriend now who isn't vegan or vegetarian even, so he really enjoys the kind of texture and taste of meat, so we have compromised on these kind of mock meats and meat replacers, but I personally don't feel like they add a lot to a diet, and I definitely don't think that they're healthy necessarily. They're a good source of protein, that is true, but they're very processed and they contain all these kind of unnecessary ingredients, I think. So I do really prefer to cook from scratch, but sometimes they are very nice to have just as a quick thing.
Follow the Moti on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.